Our next comedian coming to the stage is also wanting to make you happy, so be enthusiastic about that. Are you guys enthusiastic? Yeah! Well, then be enthusiastic for Mr. Brady Secules.
Thanks, Ben. I love Matt Benoit, your previous comic. He gets up on stage and he's like, "Yeah, so I'm single," and everyone's like, "No shit." I love you, Matt. I don't think everyone knows how nervous comedians are as people. I don't know if people were catching on, but basically every comedian on the show was out in the parking lot earlier, just like pacing and like running their material in their heads. And I thought I was like the smart one. I was like, "You're the parking lot, everyone can see you." So I went down the sidewalk and around the corner here. And I was like, there's no one out here. So I'm pacing, I'm running my material, I'm gesturing and stuff. I'm having a good time. About 10 minutes in, I look over and the whole Asian bistro is just watching me go back and forth. I'm just that crazy guy out there. But I kept going because they're not gonna fuck up my timing. I don't know if this has ever happened to you. Has anyone ever gotten accidentally too high in public and made things really weird? This is what happened to me. I was on a show on the East Coast, and the premise of the show was a bunch of comedians smoke weed, get super high, and then get on stage and try to remember their material, which as a comedian, that's just a delightful nightmare. But because it feels like, you're like, oh, everything feels so super fun, and I don't remember how to talk to people. But so I was on this show. The problem was I was at the bar just hanging out, and I was like, they'll let me know when I'm supposed to get high. But all the comedians went outside and got high without letting me know. And I didn't know until a guy comes running in. He's like, "Dude, Brady, you're late. You were supposed to be high half an hour ago," which is a weird thing to say. You're on the clock. TikTok, motherfucker, go get high. But I was like, oh shit. So I run out there and I'm like, "Hey guys, like, is there anything for me to smoke?" And they're like, "No, it's done now." And I'm like, oh shit. And so the only thing that was left was an edible. And oh, this is gonna be a fun joke if you're like, oh, edible. So here's the thing about me is I do these shows sometimes, but I have no tolerance. And so I'm looking at it and I had to do some like quick like THC math in my head. I'm like, okay, this is 100 milligrams. I'm on the East Coast. Yeah, it's a lot. I'm on the East Coast. I don't know anyone for thousands of miles. I'm supposed to be high when I get on stage, but I don't know how an edible is going to play out timing-wise. I guess I'll eat the whole thing. So I ate the whole thing. Yeah. And so when I was on stage, I was the perfect level of high, right? But by the time I got off stage, I was what doctors call fucking wasted. I was like, no, I have to be out of here right now. So I hailed an Uber on my phone while I still remembered how to read. And the Uber pulls up and I just like jump in the back. I'm like, drive! and then I'm just like, he started out, by the way, mad because I was performing in the city, but I was staying at an Airbnb like 40 minutes away. Yeah, because I'm a bad planner. So I'm in the back of the Uber, and I'm just like watching the lights go by. And I'm like, that light kind of looks like an alligator. And you know how alligators have like 4 legs? What if you added 2 legs to an alligator? So they had a total of 6 legs? That would make them 50% faster. Right? Because I did the leg math. Like more legs equals faster. Because like spiders have 8 legs, and spiders are real quick, and holy shit, centipedes are probably fast as fuck. So, and I'm like, what about snakes? Like, what if you added legs to a snake? And I was like, holy shit, I invented lizards. This is amazing. Sometimes I think I can time travel when I'm high, but only like in my own head. Like I'll be like thinking about something that happened in the past, and I'm like, that's time travel. But then I'm like, no, that's just called remembering. So I don't smoke weed all that often, like I mentioned earlier. I don't have a big tolerance. And the reason I don't smoke weed is because I already do hella snacking on my own, and I don't believe in performance-enhancing drugs. Love that joke. Go me. Oh, you're too nice. Thanks, I deserve that. But so I was like, I felt like all my muscles had disappeared. Like, that's how high I was. I was like, I'm just like loose, empty skin right now. But then I remembered, like, no, there's bones, like, supporting my skin. I'm like a kite made out of bones and skin. Just, my point is I was real fucked up in the back of this Uber is the whole point of this story. So, and then I'm like, I'm in this Uber, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in a vehicle right now. Am I driving? Dear God, I hope I'm not driving. And I was like, no, it's this dude who's driving, thank you. And then I was like, wait a minute, where's this guy taking me? And I was like, oh no, I'm being kidnapped. Which I didn't realize until that moment. Kidnapping, big fear of mine. I was like, oh no. So I didn't know what to do. My brain just started whispering advice to me, I guess. My brain was like, remember that movie Jurassic Park? Don't move. He can't see you if you don't move. So I'm just like, I'm trying to pretend to just be, like, blend into the car seat. And for me, at the time, a car seat looked like this. So I'm doing that in the back seat, and eventually the driver, he's like driving. I haven't said anything for like 30 minutes, and he looks up, and he sees me, and he swerves. Holy shit, fuck, bro. He's like, bro, what are you doing back there? And I was like, oh shit, you can see me. So he had to deal with that shit for the last 15 minutes of the drive. And then we get to where we're going. And he's like, all right, here's your stop, get out. And I look over and I'm like, oh my God, it's my Airbnb. How did the kidnapper know where I live? And he's like, yeah, get out, man. And don't forget to tip on the app. And I was like, you are shitting me. This guy put the app in kidnap. I was so excited, and I felt like I was so stressed out and scared because I thought this guy was gonna like cut off my thumbs and mail them to my mom like a minute ago, and then like a minute later, I'm like, door-to-door delivery service, this is amazing. So I opened the app, and the ride was $60, and I was so relieved that I tipped him another $60. What I'm saying is I paid $120 to believe that I was kidnapped. So things are going well. This is why comedians don't do their taxes. I've done some shows like this where the point of the show is to get super stoned. I'd actually did a version of the show up in Canada. And in Canada, I was like right in that sweet spot of like perfectly high, and I was on stage. And then it hit me as I was mid-joke, and suddenly I started having a panic attack. I was like, oh shit. And the audience is like talking to me. They're like, dude, you okay? What's going on? And I was like, okay, guys, I just gotta talk this out. Okay, so I just realized I drove myself here. That means I have to drive myself back across an international border like this. And they were like, oh no. But I did. I got myself back home that night. But the audience was so concerned about me that the next day there was like all these audience members messaging like the event page, like, did that guy make it back to America okay? And the answer is yes, because I'm a professional. Speaking of being a professional, this is a really bad transition to the stories I've been telling you already, but my day job, I work at a drug and alcohol recovery center. That's true. I think that's why I like hanging out in bars telling jokes at night. You're all drunk, I'm just here trying to recruit you people. Everyone drink up, tip the machine, and then come see me on Monday. Oh, we got a lot to talk about. Stuff at the recovery center is super weird. My job can get really intense. For example, on Tuesday of this week, so just a few days ago, there was a dude just screaming in my face, and I'm not that big of a guy. This guy's really big, and he's just like, raw, just in my face. And it was so intense, and I think it was the height difference that kind of distracted me. He's yelling, I'm trying to like de-escalate him. It took 3 whole minutes before I realized that his dick and balls were out. Yeah, like he was wearing sweatpants, and it was just bloop, and I was like, and I was just like we were like a full 3 minutes into like yelling, and I'm like, and then I'm like, whoa, your dick out. I don't know why I said your dick out, but I was like, your dick out. And he responded like, okay, he's obviously going through some shit. He said, yeah, but is it gluten-free? I was like, is what gluten-free? And he's like, my dick, bitch. I was like, I mean, yeah, but what? And then he said, well, can I have one? And I was like, have one what? And he's like, some yogurt. And I was like, we can talk about yogurt, but can you put your dick away first, please? And my job is so weird and all over the place and chaotic and stressful that happened on Tuesday morning at 10:30. And by lunchtime, I'd forgotten that happened. I feel like that doesn't happen like in a normal job. Like, do you work somewhere? Okay. At a refinery. Okay, so if someone was at the refinery with their dick out shouting about yogurt, you would like remember that for a while, right? Yeah, you'd be like talking about it for a year. But me, I was like, oh, it's lunchtime. My wife was like, what's going on today? And I was like, oh, I guess there was a dick in my face earlier. Kind of forgot. Yeah, I got bit by a chihuahua at work. That's a thing that happened to me. Yeah, I got bit by a chihuahua, and my first, like, it broke the skin a little bit, and it drew blood, and I don't know, it's a tweaker's chihuahua, so I was like, I should probably get tested or something. So I texted my boss, and I was like, hey, I got bit by a chihuahua, and my supervisor texted back, LOL, dumbass. And then 20 minutes later, he texted me again. He was like, oh, my wife has informed me that the reason you texted me is because I'm your supervisor and I'm supposed to do something. Yep. So, so he's like, yeah, you should go get checked out. So he's like, here's this number for like an L&I, like work-related injury claim. So I feel so dumb because it's a tiny little scratch. It's a chihuahua bite. I call L&I and I'm like, yeah, and this lady from Texas answers, and she's like, how can I help you? And I was like, I got bit by a chihuahua. And this lady fucking laughed at me. And then she went, okay, ma'am. I didn't realize chihuahua bites were a gendered incident. So we're going through the paperwork, and she's like, so, she gets it all done. She's like, yeah, so you're going to go to this clinic tomorrow? And they'll have the paperwork all ready to go. So I'm like, cool. The next day I walk in and I talk to the front desk and I was like, yeah, I got bit by a chihuahua. The front desk laughs at me a second time. And I'm like, great. I get back to the doctor's office. The doctor walks in and starts looking at the paperwork. No laughter. I'm like, great. Finally, a professional. And then she gets this weird smirk on her face. I'm like, fucking goddamn it, what? And she's like, where did you get bit, like on your body, where did you get bit by this dog? And I was like, on my hand, right here under this Band-Aid, why? And she's like, well, because in the document that the lady from Texas had sent over, it was like 40 pages long. It was so big. And she's like, it says here you got bit on the hand and or genitals. I was like, why? Like the lady from Texas is just like, have fun explaining that, ma'am. My wife is super fucking funny. Recently, we both got new phones at the same time, but we got different phones from each other. So me and my wife would find ourselves hanging out in a mall food court. Okay, this obviously didn't happen recently because it was before pandemic, but we're hanging out in a food court and we're just arguing over who had bought the better phone. Like my phone can do this. Oh yeah, well my phone can do that. And my wife goes, check this out. And she pulls out her phone and out loud, my wife says, hey Siri, what time are the Oscars on tomorrow? And this stranger is just walking through the mall food court, and he heard that, and he goes, oh, the Oscars are on tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. And then he kept walking. And my wife, without missing a beat, goes, did you see that? My phone just conjured a man. So she won. I should have got that phone. I'm going to tell one more joke, and then I'll get out of here. So I came up here from Bellingham. I do live in Bellingham, and I think Bellingham's a weird little town. And the reason I think that, or one of the reasons I think that, is because I saw this Yelp review. I was just scrolling through Yelp, and I happened to find this review for the Baker View Fred Meyer. It's a grocery store. You know what Fred Meyer is. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you. It's a yeah, fuck, I did it again. And so I didn't write this, but I memorized it because I thought it was like so just perfect of Bellingham's weirdness. So it started like this. 1-star review, by the way. I mostly go in there for the water. Yeah, I know, right?
That's my store.
Oh, shit. Don't listen to this joke. I'm kidding. So I mostly go in there for the water. Every time I shop for water, there's an employee in the water aisle. And it seems like I'm being watched or monitored by them. I tried to report this to the manager, and it seems as if the manager already knew who I was and didn't want to help. I tried to return a product recently, and then parentheses, it said water. And they didn't want to help me either. In fact, they wanted to pick a fight with me for some strange reason. I don't know why this happens everywhere I go. So at this point, it's no longer a 1-star Yelp review about the Baker View Fred Meyer. It's like a 1-star Yelp review about society as a whole, and everybody's fucking with this guy. But he continued, I wonder if it's a secret genocide. May God have mercy on us all. 1 star. Here's the reason why I bring it up. 6 people in Bellingham, Washington found that review useful. What? Those 6 people are like, oh yes, I also do a shitload of meth before I do my grocery shopping, so thanks for the heads up. All right, my name's Brady Secules. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brady Secules.